Our fireside chat tonight is about one of the key mental skills that separates the guys on the PGA Tour from the guys on all the other tours, and the key skill that separates the better players from those that don't play as well. That skill is visualization. In other words, the ability to see the shot before you hit it. The better you get at visualizing, the better you'll play. It's one of the keys to consistency. It's one of the keys to accuracy, and it's one of the keys to having a lot more fun on the golf course, because you'll have a lot more confidence if you can see the shot in advance. Here's my contention. If you can become a scratch visualizer, you can become a scratch golfer. I did a little quick article about a tournament when Aaron Baddeley won last year, the end of last year, and he actually looks at his shot and then he literally closes his eyes to get a better mental view of what's happening in his shot before he hits, and then he opens his eyes and steps on into the shot. So he's totally committed to doing that. But there's some other guys that are really good at seeing the shot before they hit it, and I'll tell you what, it's not that hard to do. There are various, I'm going to call them levels of your ability to see a shot before you hit them. Jack Nicklaus was one of those guys who was able to picture the entire shot, like from the moment it left his club into trajectory, all the way to where it would land and bounce and roll out and stop. He never hits a shot until he can see it in advance. That's how important visualization is to him. There are other players, so that's an extremely high level of visualization ability. There are other players who have very low level of, let's say, cinematic vision or cinematic imagination, where they can actually see all of it. They might only see maybe parts of a ball in flight. They might see the ball maybe landing, or they might just see really clearly where the ball lands. I have some people at the very far end of the visualization scale that actually don't see the shot as well at all. They actually feel the shot. And so we actually call that kinesthetic vision. So where they don't actually create a mental picture of the shot, but they just create a feeling of what the shot feels like. And that's good enough. In the end, it's actually what you feel that's important. And I'm going to build the argument for how we do that. Now, there are two ways that people tend to visualize. One is they'll see from behind their eyes, and that's where they'll see the shot, they'll see the ball flight. There's another way where people actually see themselves as though they were standing apart or separate from themselves. They're exterior, and they can literally see and envision themselves swinging and hitting. There's no right or wrong. There's only what works for you. So whatever way works, use that. But part of my contention is you do need to use it. And the better you use it and the more often you use it, the better you're going to play. The first thing I want to talk about is the three brains. And some of you have heard me talk about your three brains before, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each one of them, but I'm going to go through what their strengths are and how they communicate. And once you understand how our three brains communicate, you'll begin to see the importance of really good visualization. We have one brain in the neocortex. That's our thinking brain. That's the newest part of our brain. It's the part that handles ideas, philosophies, concepts. It's the home of language. You've probably also heard right brain, left brain. So this thinking brain also is very good at analysis. It's very logical. That's the left side of our brain. But the right side of our thinking brain is the creative side. That's the part that draws pictures, writes poetry, and sees images. So our thinking brain actually has two parts to it. When you're playing golf, you want to use those two parts to your strength. You want to use the analytical part, the left side of your brain, to analyze the conditions, the lie, the distance, the conditions that you're hitting into, where the ball wants to end up. And then that thinking brain, the left side of the brain, the rational side of the brain, creates a strategy. Then what it does is it communicates with the creative side, the right side of the brain, to begin to actually see how that shot would come about. So this is where visualization takes place, in the newer part of our brain, the thinking part of our brain. Now, the nice thing about our thinking brain is it's really smart. It can do these things and create really good strategies. Or we could ignore it and do really dumb things on the course. But it's really smart. We also, though, have two other brains. We have an emotional brain, which is really housed in the limbic system and focused around the amygdala. And one of the keys of the emotional system is confidence. Actually, confidence is an emotion. and the majority of confidence is housed in the emotional brain. So what happens when you're strategizing, analyzing, strategizing, and then visualizing the shot is you're sending information to your emotional brain and it's going to react to it. Do I like that shot? Do I not like that shot? Am I comfortable with that shot? Am I not? And hopefully in part of that process, all of this is taking place in your pre-shot routine. The emotional brain puts a stamp of approval on it, the information that it's getting from the thinking brain. Now the cool thing about the emotional brain is it can get us really up and really pumped and really excited about what we're doing. But the bad thing about it is it can be angry, it could be sad, it could be depressed. So it can be any of those things. The emotional brain can also be in the past or in the future. Where we really want it though is in the present. That's because the athletic brain is only operating in the present, only what we call the now. I saw a really funny photograph of a guy looking at his watch, and his watch said, now. I thought about getting that, just wearing that when I play. Because what time is it when you play? Now. Now, there's no other time when you're playing. Just be in the now. Now, we like to think that our thinking brain is really smart, that operates really, really fast. But the truth is that your emotional brain operates much faster, many thousands of times faster, and your athletic brain is even faster yet. So anyone ever walked along and slipped and then caught their balance and then just kept right on walking? That's your athletic brain taking over, keeping you upright. If it had been your thinking brain and you slipped, your thinking brain would have said, oh, I slipped. Let's see, we better try something. How about if we move forward or we shift our... No, too late. You're already on the ground. That's how slow our thinking brain is. So our athletic brain, by comparison to our thinking brain, is really, really fast. It's located in the cerebellum, right on top of the spinal cord, and it's actually the home of something that controls our movement. Now, the other thing about the thinking brain is the thinking brain is not directly connected to movement. The thinking brain does not control motion. It actually has to send a message to you, what I call your athletic brain, to say, go do this, make a golf swing, hit the ball from here to there. Now, if you're sending instructions, then we have a challenge. Here's why. Your athletic brain, being really the oldest part of the brain, does not understand language. But it developed when we were little tiny organisms bumping around, bumping into things, and we had to decide that whatever we bumped into, was it something that we eat or something that was going to eat us? So the athletic brain is really, really good at pattern recognition, really good at spatial relationships. It can do advanced calculus in a heartbeat, but it does not understand language. So what's a pattern? A picture. So if you're standing on the tee and you're thinking, okay, let's see, there's water on the right. Okay, last time I played, I went in the water, so I'm not going to go in the water this time. I'm going to aim left, away from the water. Excellent. And those are the instructions you send to your athletic brain. And your athletic brain is going, I didn't hear any of that. Let's see, but the image that I could pull out of that is something I do recognize, and that's water. Aha, it's right over there. Let's go there. I know where that is. And it'll get you right to the one place that you don't want to be. That's what happens. Which is why you only want to focus on the thing you want to accomplish. Only visualize the successful outcome. It's okay as part of your strategy to acknowledge there's water to the right. It's okay to acknowledge there's out of bounds to the left. But then you need to shift and say, okay, but here's where I really want my ball to land. That spot right there, and I see it landing in that spot right there. Why? Because it's sending a message the only way your athletic brain can understand it. A picture. So the clarity of the picture that your thinking brain sends to your athletic brain has a huge amount of influence over how well you play, both your accuracy and your consistency. So it's worth it to take the time to really see the shot before you hit it. And you've probably heard see it, feel it. Make sure you see the outcome that you want to have, not the outcomes you don't want to have. Right? You can acknowledge them, but then put them away and replace them with the one thing that you do want to have happen. And the more specific you can be, the more specific the image is that you send to your athletic brain. And your athletic brain likes that. So I've had great success recently with some of my players. What I have them do is to stand there and look at your target and then pick some unique feature about that target, whatever it is, and describe it. Now, it doesn't matter what you describe, but the act of describing it clarifies the image. But there's also one more link, and that's the see it, feel it link. Not only do you need to see what it is that you want to hit, but you need to feel it, because it's your body that's going to enact what you want to have, what you're visualizing, what your strategy is. And I saw a very fascinating video on YouTube, and it was Tiger Woods playing his practice round at the US Open when he was up at the Olympic Club. And he's on the second hole, it's 428 yards, par 4, little dogleg to the right. And there's a big tree out on the right side corner that if you get a little too far to the right side, it blocks your shot into the green. So you need to be on the left side. So I actually watched him hit 3 shots, 3 practice shots to see what he wanted to hit. First one sliced off to the right. It was a hybrid. He sliced it to the right, got behind the tree, didn't like that. So next he pulled out an iron and hit it straight. It didn't go far enough. He was still trapped behind the tree. So what he ultimately decided was he still wanted to hit an iron, a little bit longer iron, but he wanted to hit a draw. So he stood behind his ball, and it's fascinating to watch him. And he's looking out, he's looking at his target, visualizing his target, and then you see his hand, and his hand starts to go like this, and then it does this. So what he's doing is his body is beginning to rehearse the motion that his thinking brain is seeing. And this is the real purpose of what you're no longer going to call practice swings. They're rehearsal swings. Practice swings, just think about staging a play. The first day when you're staging a play, you get your sheets of paper and it says, move 3 shots to the left, pull out your gun, turn and shoot the bad guy. But the night before the performance, you do a dress rehearsal when everything is without cues. You're supposed to remember everything. So this is a dress rehearsal. If you want to practice, make practice swings, make those on the practice range. But when you play from now on, I want you to make rehearsal swings. Look at your target and rehearse the actual swing that you're about to hit. Rehearse that a few times while you're looking at your target, while you're visualizing what the shot is going to do. Then when you step up, your athletic body knows exactly what to do, and it'll carry it out a lot more reliably. See it, feel it, do it. And that's a great pre-shot routine. That's what your pre-shot routine is intended to accomplish.